Morning everyone, today is day 2 of my 12 Days of Christmas series. Now I bought one of these battery powered tea lights that I've seen in quite a few shops this year, and I thought it'd make a really interesting idea for a decoration. The idea I had was for a little home and using the tea light as the interior light of the home. Because I was theming it all around this tea light, I used that to measure the base of the house that I was going to make. And from that, I measured out from those dimensions to create the width of each of the walls. Now, my original plan was to fold the house, so I would take the drawing that I'm making here and transfer it onto card and then fold it around the tea light. However, a few things changed that idea. As I used the stencil and started tracing it onto the card, I realised, number one, my scalpel was completely blunt and I couldn't bear the idea of going outside to go buy some more scalpel blades. And two, how would I get the tea light into this thing and out of it, because I'm not going to have it sitting on all day. So it meant I had to alter the design. So I still used the stencil that I'd drawn out, but this time I put it onto a piece of foam board and cut out each of the walls and the base separately, and then I cut the little windows that I'd drawn as well from that. Now still my blade was a little bit knackered, but luckily the foam started to give it a bit of a snowy effect, or at least that's how I'm telling it to myself, so the knife chewing it up wasn't the end of the world. I decided to go with an A-frame house because there's something about that structure that always makes me think of Christmas. I think it's because I imagine like an alpine lodge when I see them. And also, when you're working on a small little scale like this, with not very strong materials, it often helps to take something with a bit of a simpler shape, like a more triangular frame, than trying to make a box work, because a box can often look crooked. So though I think there's a lot of experimentation you can do with this design, I'd kind of keep that in mind with how difficult you want the job to be for yourself. Now once all of the walls and windows were cut out, I checked to make sure that the tea light did still fit, because obviously the foam board was a lot thicker than the card I initially planned to use. And then I began to decorate the roof. I recycled the whiteboard that I had earlier and cut 2 squares out of that would match the pitch of the 2 walls. I gave it a bit of an overhang too, because you have to take that into account with your roof, that it's going to hang over the walls, or it's just going to look better if you do. I made mine at least 0.5 centimetre wider than any of the walls, and then I just made them both a uniform size. I think these two were both 5 centimetres. I'll include the scanned A4 that I did somewhere in the detail box if you'd like to use it as a guide for your own tea lighthouse. Now to decorate the roof, I used some Lollypop sticks that I had, and I cut them down to the width of the roof template that I'd made. When it came to the curved ends of the Lollypop sticks, I decided to cut them down and use them to decorate the ridge of the roof. Now the sticks were kind of large in terms of scaling. It just kind of looked a bit weird because it'd take 3 Lollypop sticks to do the entire width of the roof. So what I did is I took those little offcuts of Lollypop stick and I just roughly cut them down the centre. I wanted to make it rougher rather than with a ruler, just so that it had more of like a natural look. And then I just started sticking them onto the roof template like shingles. On the rougher edge, I arranged them so that they would be the parts exposed, glued all of the card of the roof, and then I added a layer of glue underneath the shingle and on the board that it would be laying on top of, and then I just stacked them on top of each other. Once one side of the roof was done, I took those Lollypop offcuts and I stuck those across the roof ridge, and then repeated this on the other side. I also cut a hole in the centre of this card, and I'm doing that because I want to hang this from the tree, so I'm making sure I've got a hole there so I can thread through an embroidery thread later on. And now you've got to glue all of these little parts together. First, arrange all of your walls so that they create a small box. Stick them all together with a lot of glue. After all the walls were stuck together, I measured the side walls, the smaller 2 sides, and I cut a piece of card that matched the height of that plus the depth of the foam board. Now the reason I'm doing that is because I'm making card hooks that are going to attach to the side walls and allow the base part to slide in and out of this tree light. Glue the hooks onto either side of the home and check that your foam board base can easily slide in and out, and leave it all to dry. Once it's all dry, paint the tops of all the walls with glue and securely place the roof onto it. Again, leave it all to dry, and this time take your embroidery thread that you've chosen and push it through the hole that you've made in the roof. I had to use a needle to do this. It can be a bit fiddly, and to be honest, thinking about it, might be easier to do before you add the roof onto the house. So maybe learn from my mistake there. Tie off the end of your thread and now you'll have a hoop to hang it onto the tree. If you want to add some extra detail onto your home, like a bit of snow on the roof like I did, just mix a bit of white acrylic and glitter, kind of like I did with the hedgehog ones yesterday, and then just thickly dab that paint onto the edges of your roof, all over the roof you could do as well. I just wanted a bit of this wood pattern to show, but if you wanted it to be all white, that could be a really interesting way of taking this too. I added a little bit to the windows and the doors too, just to mask a bit of my messy foam board cutting. And that's it. Add your tea light into your house by just sliding out your base plate, turning it on, and then sliding the base plate back into place. I think it'd be a lot of fun to create a miniature village of these, or even to do your own home. I think there's just a lot of variation that you could do with this idea. If you are interested in making one and you do make one, I'd love to see it. My Instagram's down in the description box below, or just hit me up in the comment section. It's been really nice making this one. I'm really tempted to make more, but I'm going to carry on and just try and keep making lots of different types for the next few days. I hope you enjoyed today's decoration and look forward to tomorrow's. See you then.